up, YouTube? It's your girl Maya Anais and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can see more videos like you're going to see today, and go ahead and hit that bell notification so that you can get a reminder every time I upload. So today we're in my kitchen because I am going to be showing you all what I eat in a day. So I know I've mentioned before that I've managed to lose 30 pounds through exercise and dieting, and the hardest part is figuring out what to eat. So I'm going to go through what I typically eat in a day so that you all can have an example and possibly use this in your own routine. So let's get to it. So my meal prep looks a little different than usual due to this wonderful stay-at-home order. So typically my meal prep would be on Sundays, and I would go ahead and cut any fruits and vegetables that I may need for the week, as well as separate any large packages of meat and go ahead and cook any meals that I was going to be eating during the week that were going to be grab and go. For example, maybe breakfast or lunch, and then I would come home and cook dinner. Since we're at home for this lovely quarantine, I have been cooking meals as they come because we're at home all day. So there's really no need to do all of that meal prep. However, I do still tend to cut up the fruits and vegetables that I need because that takes a lot of time. So I wouldn't necessarily call this a diet, but the way I've been eating lately has been relatively heavy on vegetables because they're good for you, they contain fiber. So I will cut up anything that I'm going to be using, and basically every single meal that I eat during the day has some sort of vegetable component. So I start with cutting some of my peppers, cut the pepper in half and clean out the inside membrane part, and then cut it into slices. I typically cut it into slices because I don't know how I'm going to be eating them during that week. Again, I tend to cut my vegetables relatively large because I could always go back and cut them smaller if need be. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut some cherry tomatoes, cut those in half and put those in a bowl. Then I go ahead and cut my avocado. So I will slice my avocado down the middle. I will scoop one half out with a spoon, and then I will take the half and actually cut that into slices, and that'll allow me to cut it into chunks. Now, this is not the only way that I eat avocado. Sometimes I will mash it up and make guacamole. Sometimes, I'll cut it into slices and I'll put it on a sandwich. I mean, avocado is very versatile, so you can literally make it however. Then I go ahead and I chop my onions. I'm going to need, at least for today, a white onion and a red onion. I go back and forth. I actually really love onions, especially when they're sauteed. So it really just depends on what I'm feeling and what I'm going to be eating for the day. Go ahead and add the white onions, some of my red peppers, and then I actually already had some diced up jalapenos, so I went ahead and added those, and I sauteed those until the onion is slightly translucent. Once the vegetables are slightly sauteed, I add about 3/4 cup of egg whites. Now with this particular omelet or scramble, you can add literally whatever vegetables you'd like. Sometimes I use a handful of spinach, I will add mushrooms, really just whatever your preference is. And then I go ahead and use some no salt original seasoning. You can get this at Aldi. It's really just a good blend. It has like onion powder, garlic powder, celery, just good seasonings. Then I go ahead and scramble all that up. And we're done. I also have oatmeal in the morning for breakfast. I'll typically vary between eating still cut oats and rolled oats and having hot oatmeal and cold oatmeal. So my personal preference is actually overnight oats, and you have equal parts of rolled oats and some type of milk. So I use almond milk. We only have original unsweetened at the moment, but I prefer sweetened vanilla. It gives it a little bit of flavor, especially since I don't typically add sugar. And I mix that in a container and I leave it in the fridge overnight, and then it'll look something like this. So once I scoop that out into a bowl, I will add half a cup of some type of fruit. It's typically some type of berries, whether it's strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, a mixture of all of them. And that is my breakfast every day. Today I am going to be making one of my favorite meals to make, and that is a roasted rainbow veggie and shrimp salad. So this is my variation of a tasty video that I had seen, so I'll be sure to link that in the description below. But I absolutely love this recipe because one, it's super quick and it tastes so good. Just like everything else I've been eating, you can add pretty much any vegetables that you want. For this particular one, I added the cherry tomatoes that we cut up, some of those bell peppers, some red onion, and then later you'll see I added a little bit of zucchini because I just kind of wanted more color for my salad. But I'll use sometimes asparagus. Every once in a while, I'll add cucumber after I've roasted my other vegetables. It's really just whatever your preference is, whatever you like to eat. When it comes to seasoning, I typically use some of the same seasonings for everything that I make, and that is onion powder, garlic powder, sometimes a little bit of salt and pepper. For this particular one, I use those seasonings as well as some chili powder, a little bit of paprika, some cumin, and a little bit of lime juice on the shrimp to give it a little bit of that citrusy flavor. So once I have finished seasoning my vegetables and shrimp, I go ahead and mix that up really well, and then I take a covered pan that I've put aluminum foil on and spray that with some nonstick spray, and then spread out the vegetables and stick them in the oven for about 10 minutes. So while my vegetables are in the oven cooking, I go ahead and doctor up my avocado a little bit. So I add a little bit of lime juice, which prevents the avocado from turning brown as quickly. And then I add this everything bagel seasoning. I don't know why I like this seasoning so much, but I honestly find myself putting it on a lot of stuff, and especially avocado. And then I add a little bit of black pepper and I mix that up, and I'll stick it in the fridge until I am ready to top off my salad. So once the peppers and other vegetables have roasted for a few minutes, I go ahead and add the shrimp. You want to make sure you evenly distribute it on the pan. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the center like I did. You just want to make sure that the shrimp is not touching each other so that they can all cook evenly. And once you get those all placed on the pan, we're going to go ahead and let that cook for another 10 minutes. Now that my shrimp and vegetables are completely cooked, I go ahead and put a generous amount of spinach in a bowl and top that salad with the vegetables and shrimp that I just made, and then put a little bit of the avocado that I had just seasoned right on top. And this is my finished product, and it is absolutely delicious. Now, with it being Memorial Day weekend, my dinner looks a little different than usual because my dad was on the grill. So what I did, since he was going to be making meat, I went ahead and prepped some vegetables. So you can't have a barbecue without corn on the cob. So I go ahead and wrap up a couple pieces of corn. Now, I personally do not like any seasoning on my corn. Every once in a while, I may add a little bit of butter, but I like the way corn tastes by itself, so I just wrap some of that up so that it can be placed on the grill. Once I got the corn all wrapped up, I went ahead and made these little foil boats that could hold the vegetables that I had cut up. And so I decided to use some of that zucchini that I had, as well as the red and yellow and orange peppers that I had sliced up. And I put those in the bowl and went ahead and added some of that same seasoning. So for this particular foil boat, I went ahead and added some onion powder, garlic powder, a little salt and pepper, and then I sprayed a little bit of olive oil on top to create a little bit of steam in there so that those would cook really nicely on the grill. And once I got all the seasoning on there, I went ahead and folded the top of that boat over, and it made a nice little package so that when you stick it on the grill, when you take it off and you open it up, you can eat it right out the foil if you really wanted to. And here is the finished product. As you can see, there's a bunch of stuff on my plate that I wouldn't usually eat, such as macaroni and cheese, baked beans, cornbread casserole, but it's the holiday and I'm definitely going to enjoy. So, as always, make sure you subscribe so you can see more videos like this, and thanks for tuning in. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day, everybody. See you next time in the next video.